All right, everyone. We are live on YouTube for our class on koshering for Pesach. Going to share this with some people so that people can um, hopefully join us anyway. Just give me a second. To get over to the page. Oops. And then we will start. We are still using our kosher kitchen book. So it still has, obviously, koshering your kitchen for Pesach has a unique, what's the word? Is unique among the kosher topics. So, all right, we'll start in just a moment. I am hoping to have people join on Zoom, but we shall see. If not, people can go and view this class. All right. Whoops, lost the thing here, post. All right. All right, let's begin. So we are using, and if anyone is admitted into this room, I'll let them know that we are live streaming, and I do have children, so I might have to, if something dramatic happens in the back, I'll have to attend to that. But so we're skipping actually a couple, so this is the book, the kosher, well, you can't see it because of the background, the kosher kitchen. I don't know if that's going to show up right, but yeah, the kosher kitchen, a practical guide by Art Scroll. It's a very, it's very detailed, but not so detailed where you're going to be like, I don't even know how to do anything. So let me just a second here. I want to make sure I can see comments or whatever if I have any. All right, I can see that. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and do this, and I'll watch to see if anyone wants to join us. So, a step-by-step guide to preparing your kitchen for Pesach, i.e. Passover. Utensil by utensil instructions for koshering. And so here are some of the questions it's going to go over. Should countertops be kosher or covered? May one kosher the sink with boiling water heated in a year-round kettle? Is it necessary to cover refrigerator shelves? Must one cover oven knobs? Must one cover an oven hood? It's the thing that goes over the oven. So those are just some questions it's going to address. And just as a side note, if you don't keep a kosher kitchen, this is not the class for you, because this book is assuming you keep a kosher kitchen. If you are interested in learning what it means to keep a kosher kitchen, please reach out to us. We have been teaching classes on it, and I have had some recorded, and I also would be happy to do one-on-one. Give me just one moment. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. So if you want to learn what it means to keep a kosher kitchen, please contact us, and I'll be happy to help you with that. All right. For preparing for Pesach, finding the balance. Many women are overwhelmed by the task of preparing their home and particularly their kitchen for Pesach. I can tell you this because we just cleaned one of our rooms, and it literally took almost the entire day, and I had help. They approach Pesach with anxiety and even panic. Someone believed that the house must be rid of every small speck of chametz. Anything that may have come in contact with chametz, even by the remotest chance, must be scrubbed and koshered. This is my husband's outlook, which creates very um, interesting Pesach cleaning season, but that's a different topic. All right. This admirable wholesome instinct to prepare for Pesach in the most comprehensive manner possible is inherited from our grandmothers. However, the shoe must fit the foot, so to speak. Truth be said, much of the cleaning of chametz praiseworthy is a chumrah, praiseworthy no less, and is not absolutely required by halacha. So, which they'll get into, I'm sure. While one is obligated to follow halacha in all its details, one may not accept chumras that are beyond one's limits. Our grandmothers lived in a harsher environment. Life was more difficult and accepted as such. For better or for worse, we live an easier life in the physical sense and are less equipped for physical and emotional strain. When we are exacting beyond our physical and emotional capabilities, other aspects of Avodah Hashem, that service to Hashem. Where was I? Invariable it suffers. It may manifest itself in impatience with our children or irritability towards our spouse. May that we come to subconsciously resent the mitzvah and even the Yom Tov itself. We approach Yom Tov exhausted and physically spent, and instead of the Seder less than half awake. While we work so hard to make Yom Tov beautiful for everyone, it was for us. For us, it may have lost its charm and splendor. Therefore, it is imperative that each woman understand her limits. And so, it's just saying you need to have a balance. Which frankly, my household is still working on because my husband has a very particular view of how he wants things cleaned for Pesach, and I'm more lax on things, I think, because I'm not as detail oriented in terms of cleaning. And I have 3 young children, and that's something for each household to work on, and we're frankly still working on it. So it's talking about the importance of cleaning in front of our children. That we shouldn't just, because you can technically sell your house, quote unquote. Well, no, sell your house for Pesach week and go somewhere else, but you're depriving your children of those needed lessons for Pesach. And just to clarify where we stand on Ahavas Chinam, we do not think that non-Jews, that is people born of if your mother is not Jewish, you're not Jewish. If your mother is Jewish, you are Jewish. So that's our standard, or we go with the standard halacha. If your father was Jewish, you need to convert. Or if your father is Jewish. I converted, for example, because neither one of my parents is Jewish that I know of. So that's our standard here. And Jews are obligated to Pesach. Gentiles are not obligated. And actually, they are in Torah law, like when the temple is built, are not allowed to participate in Pesach unless they have been circumcised and converted. So it's one of those sort of like Shabbos. It's only for Jews in terms of its observance. So like a non-Jew can't partake of the or a uncircumcised person cannot partake of the Pesach Seder. It's only for Israel. If you join the Jewish people, it's a different story. And I think there is a line where if a Jew, this doesn't happen nowadays, but if a Jew owns a non-Jewish slave in a circumcised area, it will partake because they're owned by the Jew. But that's a different topic altogether, and that it doesn't happen nowadays. I don't own any non-Jewish servants. So all right. Introduction. So I'm skipping, again, getting the book would be very obviously helpful for you. I'm not going to just sit here and read the book to you. So All right, sorry. So in previous chapter, we discussed the general principles of koshering. Again, we haven't gone over that in great detail because we haven't had this class in a little bit. The primary goal of the chapter is to provide a basic guide for koshering a kitchen for Pesach. So this is not going to cover the rest of the house. So give me. So, hey, who is joining us? Hey, Trina. Just letting you know this is being live streamed on our. Okay. So you haven't missed much. Let's see. All right, sorry, I got the previous chapter. So this is not talking about so we'll cover the general koshering practices for a general kitchen later. I'm not, because we've been gone a few weeks, so I'm not sure where we left off there. Trying to get me back into view here. Okay. We'll do it that way. So, sorry, I'm playing with settings here. All right. And Trina, even though you obviously can break in any time with questions, there are many customs with regard to koshering for Pesach, and it is beyond the scope of the work to cite each opinion and custom. As always, one should consult one's individual Rav and follow his instructions. In previous times, it was common practice to kosher many kitchen utensils such as pots, kettles, and pans. In today's affluent times, one usually purchases separate Pesach utensils to be kept from year to year for Pesach use. So, like for example, so every year, my husband and I would purchase something just for Pesach like this. You can't. There's absolutely no way, unless you're like independently wealthy, that one could afford to, because you're basically to buy everything you needed for, like, when we first got married, we didn't have anything for Pesach. So it was just, we've been married 6 years, so it's been a kind of a slow process to kind of get at those things. And for the first 5 years or 4 years of our marriage, I would kosher all our pots and pans. And after having 3 children, I was like, I'm done with that. I don't want to do that anymore. So we last year purchased 2 sets of pans, small sets like from Target or something, and put them in our Pesach stuff for Pesach specifically. So every year I get a little bit more, and I'm really hoping this year I don't have to buy anything in terms of a large purchase, specifically for Pesach. So we have, like, I inherited 2 sets of china for my grandmother, or one for, which I only used for Pesach. Last year, like I said, I bought pans. I think what I have to buy this year is dairy utensils. So kind of over time, so you don't have to feel like, there's no requirement obviously to buy everything at once for Pesach, because that's just financially, for most people, not plausible, especially in our age where gas is $5 a gallon. So, we're a little tight on money these days. All right. Similarly, throughout the year, one generally does not purchase and kosher use non-kosher utensils or kosher ordinary treif utensils that were inherited from non-observant relatives. Most koshering done in a Jewish home today is for an accidental use of a utensil for the opposite type, or for koshering kitchen utensils for Pesach use. Therefore, we will not discuss koshering barbecues, broilers, food processors, hot plates, Shabbos, blechs, and toaster ovens, as they're usually not kosher for Pesach. One who needs to kosher these items can consult a Rav. So, like, for example, every Shabbos we use a blech, which is literally a sheet of metal that you put over your stovetop. So, and that prevents you from, that covers the knobs and everything. It prevents you from adjusting the fire on Shabbos. And since you're using that all year round, we can't use that particular one for Pesach. We'll have to purchase another one. So now I'm thinking of things I need to buy. Go fun. So for Pesach specifically, and that, because that was something new, we had a regular. So there are certain things that you just don't kosher, like the toaster ovens that we put in storage. The Instant Pot I have, things are just too difficult to kosher for Pesach, so I just go without. I am not going to buy an Instant Pot specifically just for Pesach, because that's $100 and something. I cannot use it for a week. It's 8 days, so I can survive though it's really hard for that week. Because I'm so used to when you're used to using certain things. I bought a colander last year for Pesach. My husband went a little nuts and he bought salt and pepper shaker for Pesach use. And I'm like, okay. So, it just depends how strict you want to be. All right. There's a difference between koshering non-kosher utensils and koshering for Pesach. Normally, when koshering, it is adequate to ensure that both the utensils being koshered and the koshering pot are both clean and non-ben yomo. However, when koshering for Pesach, while halakhically one may use a clean non-ben yomo chametz pot, it is customary to kosher the chametz koshering pot before it is used for koshering. So normally I could just take one of the pans from my kitchen, a big soup pot. Give me a second. I have a screaming kid. Over, so I would suggest stopping. Just scream because you're interrupting and taking it longer. In a little while, be quiet or you won't get it. This is the second time you're interrupting me, and it's rude. Long, because you're interrupted. Good night. I will let you. I have a difficult child tonight. Let's see. Sorry, so where were we? Okay, so I can normally take one of my soup pots and use that. But because it's all my pots have been presumably come in contact with chametz. So I have to actually kosher that pot again, unless I want to buy a new one. But like I said, I bought Pesach pans. I'm sorry. Hang on. No, shut your mouth. I got you seltzer. It's in your bed. Shut your mouth. I'm getting incredibly angry at you, and you're about to slap me. I will get you honey later. You're about to lose it completely. I will not be getting for it. I am getting very angry because I have a class I'm trying to teach other people, and you are interrupted 3 or 4 times. Class. Good night. Good. You have seltzer on your bed. Do not interrupt me again, or I promise you will get no honey tonight. Stop interrupting me. Be quiet. All right, if you cry again, I'm not coming in here. If I hear you crying, you're not getting any money. Okay. So always when I'm teaching a class, they want to interrupt. It's kind of like being on the kind of
being on the phone.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. So in other words, so you have to have a pot specifically for Pesach. You can kosher one of your pots for Pesach, but you can't just take one of your pots out because you're obviously, if you're using it all year round, it's gonna have come into contact with chametz somewhere. Excuse me. All right. So where was I? Thus, either way, the koshering pot is koshered either before or after koshering. It is worthwhile investment to purchase a large, inexpensive pot to be used each year solely for koshering. So you don't have to kosher your pot every year. In this way, one can eliminate the need to kosher the pot each year. Another thing I need to buy apparently, the koshering pot should be marked koshering pot, lest one forget and use it during Pesach. So basically it's just suggesting that you get one of those giant, because you need a large one because you need to be able to drop certain things in the pot. That's it. So it fits everything. But they're pretty inexpensive. When koshering for Pesach with a uri kli rishon, such as when koshering a sink, one may use a Pesach kettle and use it for Pesach afterwards, since the kettle does not come in direct contact with the utensil being koshered. One may also kosher with a kettle used all year round if it's never used or washed with chametz. So I have a water kettle. I don't wash that thing out. It just boils water. That's all it does. It's one of those electric ones. When boiling water for koshering, one may place the pots or kettle on clean chametz grates. Nevertheless, it's preferable to place a piece of heavy-duty foil on the grates while boiling the water. Now, like I have a gas stove, so they're literally always under fire, so they're going to be already kosher constantly. And we actually have, I don't know if it's going to get into here, but like we literally use a torch on our stove grates in our oven because it literally burns everything away. Countertops come into contact with hot foods and liquids. Hot liquids often spill, and hot foods are sometimes placed directly upon the countertop. These hot liquids are at most merely uri kli rishon, and the hot foods are a kli sheni. Thus, one should be permitted to kosher countertops with the uri kli rishon. That's just the kettle that they were referring to earlier, since that replicates the exact manner in which the non-kosher taste was absorbed. One should avoid placing hot foods or pouring hot liquids onto the countertops 24 hours before koshering. So that's like one of the big principles for koshering in general, is waiting 24 hours. Like you wash something that got trafed, for example, you have to wait 24 hours for it before actually koshering it. Give me a second. Someone messaged while I've been having the class. And I don't know if it has to do with the class. All right. All right. I will address them later. That's all kind of sort of off topic of what we're talking about. Let's see. All right, to wait 24 hours before koshering so that it is not a ben yomo. However, since in the opinion of some poskim, solid food retains the status of a kli rishon, some poskim require that countertops should be koshered with an even molbein, a hot stone, in conjunction with the uri kli rishon. So it is questionable if any steam machines available today may be used for koshering countertops. One may not use a machine unless it is approved by a reliable rabbinic authority and follows his instructions. Now, this gets into what your countertop is made of. Like, I don't actually know what my countertop's made of, so we kosher them and then we cover them because we're not sure if we can actually kosher them because I don't think you can. So a lot of people do that. As noted above, some poskim require countertops to be koshered with an even molbein. That's literally you just have a hot stone on your countertop. There is even more reason to require an even molbein for granite and marble countertops. The simplest manner to prepare these countertops for Pesach is to clean them thoroughly and cover them. They should be covered with a thick cardboard or similar plastic covering. An alternative method is to kosher the countertops with an uri kli rishon, but to cover an area with a small metal sheet, a small blech, or to use trivets upon which to put hot pots. It is advisable to cover the backsplash of the counters as well, since foods often touch it. However, a sturdy, thinner covering, such as heavy-duty foil, is sufficient. One who moves into a previously non-kosher home should kosher granite countertops with an uri kli rishon and preferably an even molbein. So everyone seems to say that you should clean them or kosher them and cover them. So it's like that's kind of the standard, just to be safe kind of thing. And especially, so there is actually, they sell this really, 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 really thick aluminum foil, like where we live, because we're in a Jewish community. And that stuff is like, you have to really work to bend it. Like it's very, very thick and it's not going to rip easily like regular tin foil. But on the back, like on the wall areas and stuff that just splash up, I just use regular tin foil. So that's why if you go into an Orthodox home, you see a lot of tin foil. And I frankly don't know what Jews did without tin foil, but I'm in modern times now. All right. Like this is, then it goes into, can you kosher like a plastic countertop, which is I think is what we have. It's that hard plastic. Um, it's customary just in general not to try to kosher plastic for Pesach use because there was a controversy with that. Porcelain and enameled surfaces cannot be koshered for Pesach, so you just cover them. Sanding down the surface. Since the non-kosher chametz taste is absorbed into the thinnest layer of the countertop surface, one may sand down the surface layer of a granite or corn and countertop. Once you remove a layer approximately the thickness of a piece of paper. So people will even do this with their tables. Like your wooden tables you can sand down, but I'm not a woodworker, so we just cover our table is always covered. So we just we do an extra layer, like a paper cover over the wood, and then we do our normal coverings. So that's the countertop issue. So it says it's much similar to wash the countertops thoroughly and cover them with a sturdy, thick covering material, such as cardboard or plastic. I think last year I actually used plastic. They have this really thick. It's cheaper too to buy the thick plastic. Normally what you would see is what you line. And if you're not in a Jewish community and they don't sell something specifically for Pesach, you can just get it like a thick liner that you would use in drawers and just use it on your countertop. Yeah, there's usually several types of countertops or coverings available in stores that supply Pesach needs. So it's just going, don't worry about what it looks like because it's only for a week. It's not going to look great. But it worked. Actually, the plastic really worked well for me because you're able to cut it specifically to the because like we have a round corner in our kitchen, our round countertop on part of it, and so I was actually able to use that a knife and cut it perfectly. All right, now we're moving on to the oven. It is commonly accepted that a gas or electric oven may be koshered with an ibn kal. However, there are those who question this practice and require ibn gomer, since it is difficult and dangerous to use a blowtorch in a household oven. The stricter opinions require that in addition to the method of koshering described above, one may place a metal insert into the oven or to line the oven with heavy-duty aluminum foil. A full self-cleaning cycle may be sufficient, even according to most stricter opinions. So I have never had an insert for my oven, but we did do a blowtorch, and we blowtorch we actually do blowtorch our oven, and maybe it's not the safest thing, but we do. And you clean it thoroughly, and any of the really hard spots we use a little blowtorch. I literally bought it off of Amazon. They come with a little canister and it's not like huge. I think it cost me like $20 to $30, I think. And I'm using the same one this year as I did last year. So this kind of just goes over the basic. I'm going to kind of summarize it because I don't want to go into all the details of it. Because I feel like we've covered this before in a previous class. So you obviously clean the oven. You wait 24 hours. I do a cycle of like 500 degrees, or the highest setting if you don't have a self-cleaning oven, for at least an hour. And also turn on all the burners and everything. So you'll get your house nice and toasty. So it's saying you should preferably buy a set of racks for your oven for Pesach use, but I've been pretty successful at cleaning them really, really thoroughly and blowtorching them. And I do put a thing of aluminum foil on each shelf. So, all right. So that's what I do. If you have a self-cleaning oven, that's the easiest. Okay, this is the last time. Okay. All right, stovetop. If you have a gas one, it's quite easy. Being very, let's see, where was I? Continuous cleaning ovens are questionable. I don't even know what that means. So what I'll just say this for the stovetop, you take the grates, the cast iron. I have I guess everybody, some kind of metal, cast iron, or specifically, you clean that. But because we're not sure of the material of our oven, we do cover that with like a tin foil, the thick tin foil, and cut out what we need for Pesach. So, all right. All right, so I want a broiler. Broiler pan itself should be replaced for Pesach. I don't use a broiler, so if you can't detach the broiler, just clean it thoroughly. A stainless steel sink, if you're lucky enough to have one, is definitely kosherable. Porcelain cannot be koshered. I've covered this before. You buy Pesach inserts, so we have inserts that we use. All right. All right, koshering the faucet. So the faucet knobs or lever should be cleaned thoroughly. The aperture or spout should be removed. If possible, all the crevices should be cleaned, because this is dealing with, if you're working with hot water, the chametz water is going to come in contact with it. So you should really be thorough with the spout. And pour boiling water over it. Some people get actually a strainer for Pesach. That's not necessary though. You don't have to replace it, obviously. You're just cleaning it thoroughly. So you just want everything to come in contact with boiling water at some point when you're dealing with I'm kind of scanning, so I'm just sitting here reading. So you want to get that strainer out of that faucet, clean that really thoroughly, or even replace it. So a sink strainer should be removed, and the sink should be dried of any remaining water. So it needs to be perfectly dry. You need to wait 24 hours, and then you can kosher the sink. We've talked about that before. And if you don't have a sink that can be koshered, you just cover it with use the liners. And if you're not in a Jewish community, you can probably buy that off of like Eichler's or some other place. And replace the sink strainers, because obviously those are really small. Same thing with colanders. That's why you need to get a colander specifically for Pesach. It's because the small holes can't really be koshered. You're not going to be able to clean that sufficiently. So I just put mine away and get ones for Pesach specifically. All right, pantry and kitchen cabinets, which one stores chametz, foods, and dishes should be thoroughly cleaned if they are being used during Pesach. After the cabinets are cleaned, they require bedika. This must be done at night in good light. After they are clean, they may be used on Pesach. However, many of the custom line all cabinets that are to be used for Pesach foods and dishes with paper. If the cabinets will not be used, they should be cleaned and sealed. So I specifically have an area in my kitchen where I seal off, like I put all the chametz dishes and everything, and I literally seal that off with tape and don't open it during Pesach. Refrigerator, freezer can be wiped down. Let's see. All shelves and bins that are removable should be removed and washed. Some have the custom of lining the shelves with foil. However, since it's not halakhically necessary, may inhibit air circulation. Many do not require that refrigerator shelves be covered. Glass shelves may be covered with plastic covers that are available in many Pesach stores. although this is not halakhically required. So they do sell these like thin plastic ones that you can poke holes in them, so it helps with the air circulation. Microwave ovens. There's a whole question about microwave ovens and whether you can kosher those. We will not go into that. High chair, big high chair should be thoroughly cleaned. The tray should be covered with contact paper. The tray should not be washed in a Pesach sink. Table, any table upon which one eats, the kitchen and dining room table should be washed thoroughly and covered with heavy waterproof covering. A table that is open and extended with additional leaves should be opened and all crevices should be thoroughly cleaned. Dishwasher. There's a lot of issues with koshering a dishwasher, generally speaking, and a lot of dishwashers can't be koshered. So the best thing to do is to consult a rabbi for that. If it's stainless steel dishwasher, there's plastic parts to it. So basically, you can't really kosher a dishwasher for Pesach, is what I'm reading here. Maybe other people have different opinions, but that's what I'm seeing here. Items not kosher for Pesach. Items that are not kosher for Pesach should be put away in a place inaccessible on Pesach, which I mentioned. They should be locked and the key should be hidden. Or in my case, I duct tape it so my kids can't get into it. A china closet with silver kiddush cups and trays should also be locked or taped shut. Kitchen cabinets with chametz dishes should be sealed with tape. Some advise that they are labeled chametz. So just have obviously some way where you're not going to be able to access that during Pesach. So because it's getting late, I'm going to save the rest for next week because there is a lot of detail with this. So next week we'll be going over, hey, we're about to finish up. This is but it is recorded, so you'll be able to watch it because it's almost 10 o'clock here. So we're going to go over more specific parts to a koshering for Pesach. Zoom user, if you have any specific questions that you came with for Pesach, I'm actually going to pause my teaching here. We've been just talking about koshering for Pesach specifically. If you have any questions about Pesach, getting ready for Pesach, whether it has to do with the kitchen or not, do you have any questions like that regarding Pesach in general?
I'm not sure yet, actually.
Okay, so you can
Maybe.
watch. I put this on our YouTube channel, so you can actually watch what I went over, and so this was specifically about kosher in the kitchen for Pesach, not generally about Pesach, like generally speaking, but specifically because this class is about keeping kosher in general, obviously. So, and I'm also getting I spent today in one room from about 10 to 3 today cleaning for Pesach. So I'm quite tired.
Well, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, like pulling everything out. It wasn't the kitchen I always save for last, but I had a friend come over and help me, which is nice because usually it takes me 2 or 3 days to do a room. And because she came over, I got it done in a day. So that was really nice. But yeah, you could go on our YouTube channel and check. So yeah. All right. So go to our YouTube channel. You can just look up the Havas Chenem and you'll be able to see this class on there so you can watch it. And next week we're going to do it at 9 p.m. Chicago time next week and continue the class. So I wasn't able to get on any earlier because of the kids. So we'll do our second part of koshering for Pesach next week. And then but this Thursday, we're also having a Rashi study. David's going to be teaching a Rashi study on Thursday night. So there's not Purim this week.